kill her and choke her?
Yeah.
When police and doctors tell you your child isn't safe in your home, that he might harm his siblings or you, what do?
I know plenty of parents who have had to do second chance adoptions, who have had to give their children back to the state, who have had to literally just throw their arms up and say, if that is the route that I have to go to get my kids services and for our family to be safe and for me to not be covered black and blue in bruises, I must protect them and I must protect my family.
There's zero solution for families like ours.
This Valley couple just had to sign away parental rights to their adopted son to get him help and protect their 8 other children.
The only solution that we had as a family was to shatter our own hearts in the hopes of healing his.
Talk about an impossible ultimatum. November is National Adoption Month.
And tonight we are taking an honest look at the mental health gaps where families who open their homes to take in these kids with complex trauma say they just are not getting the help they need. Nicole Kreitz has tonight's Arizona's Family Original.
Everyone look at Tiffany.
Let me see those smiles.
Good job.
Putting on a happy face to pose for family pictures isn't easy for this Valley family of 11, now 10,
One more?
knowing there's a missing link.
Half of the time I just want to be in fetal position and crying.
Married 17 years, Nicole and Ben have 9 kids, 3 biological, 6 adopted. They just had to sign away their legal rights to their 7-year-old son, whose name they tattooed on their wrist, forever in their hearts.
I'll never be okay. He's my son, and I have to spend my lifetime without him.
He came into their lives after Father's Day 2014, only 2 years old.
He's a sweet, caring little guy with a broken heart. He's survived a lot of horrible things. He's actually very resilient to still be here, and none of it's his fault. I can look in any corner of this home and I can see him. I can see him and his siblings dancing in the living room. I can hear his voice. Who's your favorite person in the world?
You?
I love you, baby.
Love you too.
But I also have just as many hard days that literally brought us to our knees.
You guys got to the point where you had to put cameras in. Were you scared?
I was scared for our other children. One time was trying to get his brother that's also special needs to try to touch our grill that was on. And when I asked him, I said, why would you do that? He said, I just wanted to watch him burn.
Diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder and sociopathic tendencies, their little man wound up doing 3 behavioral health intakes at Phoenix Children's Hospital and 16 months in a therapeutic foster home, each time coming home and eventually acting out again.
There was incidents with knives a few times. We just started locking up every sharp object.
Nicole says she found some scissors hidden in his pillowcase after he'd cut the throats on his stuffed animals and threatened to do it to his brother and her while she slept. Then there was this.
I was going to the bathroom and I was trying to kill her and choke her.
You were trying to kill her and choke her?
Yeah.
Who is her?
The cat.
Police told them.
And if he harms any of your children, you can lose all of your children.
DCS caseworkers told them.
And if you remove him from your home, you can be charged with neglect and abuse.
And that's the citation they were given the night they called police to take him in after they found him threatening his little sister.
It just kept escalating and escalating.
They asked for help and wound up in court.
I don't want to lose him. I just want him to get the help he needs.
I wish we had other options.
A lot of families feel very stuck. They do feel stuck, and it's hard.
Denise Bibbin with Child Help says they see this all the time.
Unfortunately, with kids who have experienced complex trauma, there's about a 25% disruption rate in adoptions.
The Valley nonprofit runs 2 psychiatric residential treatment homes out of state, focusing on intense therapy and healing for severe trauma cases. Nicole tried working with DCS to get her son placed in one. It didn't happen.
So this is something, if not treated now, will go on with them for the rest of their lives.
And it could soon get more complicated. Arizona is being forced to comply with a new federal mandate by 2021. The Families First Act pushes prevention to fix the system, capping funding and length of stays at group homes and residential treatment centers.
But it's not easy. We've made it very difficult in this country for kids to get the help that they need.
Advocates are hopeful there will be exceptions for families and kids who need more intense long-term therapy.
As we can invest in them now, or we can invest in them later.
We're literally taking them from the foster care system and we're placing them now in our prison system.
In fact, 74% of our prison population were foster kids. It's 80% for death row. Here in Arizona, about 60 kids age out every month, some with more than 60 different placements. Half will wind up incarcerated in 2 years.
These kids have lost everything they've ever known.
Anika Robinson lobbied the legislature 3 years ago to pass Jacob's Law, requiring emergency behavioral health help for kids in the system. She has 10 kids in her home right now and runs Advocacy, Support, and Assistance Now, training families and caseworkers to navigate the system.
I've met families who have gone bankrupt, who have cleaned out their 401k. They're at their wits' end and say, I can't do this anymore, so I have to put this child back into DCS custody.
What's your favorite thing to do?
Play games.
A child should not be without a family, and a family without a child because of severe mental illness.
Who do I like to play with?
Yeah.
Everybody.
This case just shines a light on the need for another option.
Republican Representative Nancy Bartow co-chairs the Joint Legislative Oversight Committee for the Department of Child Safety.
Because I'm still hearing, families are waiting 10 months.
She helped pass a new residential treatment option for adults in last year's budget and says we need more options for kids.
Supposedly there's no wait list, but obviously there is. So.
Well, and Madam Co-Chair, and if you're hearing those things, please push them to us, because the sooner we know, the quicker we can respond.
Mike Faust, the new director for DCS, says for the first time, his department will be in charge of mental health treatments like any other medical appointments, giving them more discretion. He wouldn't go on camera with us, only releasing a statement saying these are some of the toughest cases and they perform a thorough assessment to reach the best outcomes for children and families.
The work here in this space is never done.
They can take away my legal rights. I can sign them away. I will never leave and I will never stop fighting until this changes.
Go. Ray.
Because he deserves it.
They loved him enough to get him help outside their home, and now they can never see him again.
He has 8 siblings that even though they lived in a war zone at times of trauma, they love him. It's their brother.
Hurt this deep only comes when you love so strong. So yes, they'd do it all again. She's just praying their pain will have a purpose, perhaps the power to find a better way for kids and families who need help.
I'll never be the same. I will literally never be the same without him. He's a missing link to our family. You don't move on. You don't get over it. I love you, baby.
Love you too.
This new report from the Auditor General found widespread violations. DCS is adopting all of the recommendations. For starters, following through with Jacob's Law to make sure every family gets a placement packet so they know each child's behavioral health history. Right now, they do not track how many kids are removed from homes because they simply weren't getting the mental health help they needed. There's much more context in my story on azfamily.com right now.